All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Four Steps to Love, the introduction with Lamarck Thomas. This is an open intro session to the four-step coaching program, which will be then followed by the four steps in four individual separate live events online. My name is Philip Johnson Jarl. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Relate, the values-based relationship app, and I'm calling in from my lovely co-living community home K9 here in central Stockholm. Um, and before I hand over to our main person of tonight, Lamarck, who will lead us through the evening, I wanted to briefly share my story with you and the story of Relate. And exactly 3 years ago today, I sat on an empty beach in the rain, feeling completely lost in life. I had just ended a successful business career and taking the huge step to leave everything behind to rebuild a new life based on or centered around a committed, strong purpose and my own personal values. And after a long journey of personal reflection, I landed in the strong belief that the quality of our lives is set by the quality of our relationships. And I experienced that there was a correlation between the sense of connection I had with people around me in my life and the well being that I felt in myself. So I made it my mission to bring people closer and to help people find and build meaningful relationships. And together with personal values experts, self leaders, we started Relate, and our first with that exact same mission. And our first product is an app that helps singles to find and connect to like-minded people based on personal values. And to the main speaker and our host for tonight, Lamarck is a wonderful person that I first came into contact with through this co-living community, as he is a former resident here. And Lamarck is a love professional, Scandinavia's first and only millionaire matchmaker, a dating, relationship, and matchmaking expert that have helped hundreds of people around the world to find love and to also lead a life of love. Lamarck, I'm so excited to have you here with us. Please take it away. The stage is yours.
Thank you so much for your kind introduction. Much appreciated. And super nice to be here and to recognize some familiar faces. Hello, I see familiar faces waving back. um, yeah, so the plan for the day, I will start by telling you a bit about me and why it is that I should talk about love. We'll do a bit of a check-in, um, and I will then open up the space to hear a bit about what your needs are and what your challenges are, if there are any. Before we then start to talk about the four steps to love and go into that model. Then to start this process, because this is a series of events, we will create your intention, the intention for the love that you want to create or the future relationship that you want to create. And we will try to share that with other people in the group, and also try to have that mirrored before we then check out and close. How does that sound to everyone? Perfect. So I will start by telling you a bit about me. Yeah, I was born on a tiny little island in the middle of nowhere called St. Helena. I'm not sure if anyone's heard of St. Helena, but it's the island where Napoleon Bonaparte was exiled to and where he died. And I grew up on this tiny isolated place, probably being the only gay in the village, or at least feeling that way. And I think maybe because of that, I tended to really be aware of belonging, and I think I connected very much to people through their pain or to understanding what's going on in their minds. That then led me to going to the UK, to London, to study psychology. Um, Before I then started working in psychological trauma. And it was probably there that I really felt like the passion for psychology, where I was actually helping people who were in really tough situations. But at that tender age, where I was dealing with trauma and depression and suicide and all these heavy things, whilst also managing a team of 1,000 psychologists, and managing the rehabilitation process, I think I became a bit overwhelmed, and I thought that I would take a break from this world and go to something that was a bit more fun and light and fulfilling. And I found this team of matchmakers in London who were helping people to find relationships. So then I thought that would be quite fun to do. Um, but I think I realized in doing that that this was probably as real as psychology gets. Like, this was the most important thing in everybody's life, and I think that then the passion for love, for relationships, um, for psychology really grew. Um, yeah, fast forward a little bit, I then met the person who brought me to Sweden, my Swedish prince, Michael. And I did something that I would never recommend to any of you. I agreed to move to Sweden within 24 hours of meeting him. Don't do that. It's not not recommended. Um, but luckily, we are now married, and I think we are in a good place because of it. But I think there was lots of learnings that came through making this crazy decision of dropping life and moving to Sweden for a relationship. Um, yeah, but I think coming here was really an opportunity for me to start out again. I've been matchmaking in London for 5 years, and this was an opportunity for me to start my own agency here. And I think being such a small place, and also having my name on the brand, I really wanted to make sure that if I was going to do this, that I wanted everybody to be successful in the process. So I started to look at all of the literature. I started to look at all of the successes and all of the painful failures, and try to understand what it really took in order to make a relationship work. And that's where the 4 steps to love came about. And I've been super excited about the results of this. And yeah, I think about almost, almost all of our clients meet a relationship. It's about 90% of the people that we work with that are in a relationship, and we tend not to give up on people. So I'm hoping that we can even shift that percentage up to 100%, and yeah, helping people help yeah them to meet love too. So I'm excited to share with you today the 4 steps, and to get your thoughts, and also to this is an introduction, so we will go through the steps in more detail in later sessions. So now I think I will open up the space for you guys to connect with each other. And I'm intrigued to find out what you think is your relationship superpower. So we're going to go now into some breakout rooms, and you're going to think about what your relationship superpower is, and each take some time to express what you think that would be, and you can interpret that, in any way that you want. For example, perhaps my relationship superpower is empathy and sensitivity. I am really able to sense people's needs and I can take good care of my partner. Um, Maybe your relationship superpower would be something that you want to have. For example, I wish that I could read people's minds. Um, but I will hand over to Axel to put you into checkout groups where you can answer that question. Is that did that make sense? Perfect. Okay, so I think everyone is coming back. Okay, yeah, that looks like we're back. So now that you've had a chance to think about what your relationship superpower is, I'm also curious to hear, is everyone back? Let's have a look. Okay, I'll just repeat that. Yeah, now that you've had a chance to think about what your relationship superpower is, I am curious to hear about the things that you actually find challenging in relationships. And and for this, I am inviting anyone to speak and share what you may find challenging. I invite you also to share in the chat, um, and we may also have a poll which you can answer. Do we have a poll, Axel? But while we're waiting for it, I invite anyone to. So it looks like meeting the right people is something that. Oh, okay, sorry, I lost you for a second. Looking like meeting the right people is a big thing for a lot of you. Would anyone care to share? Is there anything that's not on the list? For example, for me, I think one of the things that's I find really challenging in relationships is like lowering the emotional um, reactions, no, lowering the emotions enough so that I can, do the most conscious action, do the thing that's most helpful. Um, does anyone else feel anything like that may be challenging? I know it's a bit vulnerable for you to speak out, so if you don't want to, we will move on. And but I open up the space for you to let us know, and then of course we will be able to talk about this later on in the process. Yeah. So um, I'm a matchmaker, and I guess it's quite simple. We work with people personally in order to help them find love, and we do two things. Um, we work a bit like a recruitment company where we, we meet people, we search for um, appropriate matches for them, and we introduce them, and alongside of that, we're also coaching people in the self-leadership that creates happy, healthy relationships. Um, so the our model is based is based on 4 steps to love, and um, to summarize these 4 steps, first, it's about being mindfully aware of what you have learned about love. And this is about understanding your past and how that affects how you love today. Um, Next part two, step two, is about living your life now with your values at heart. This is something that perhaps you're familiar with if you know about Relate. Um, the second, the third, sorry, is about understanding what a truly compatible relationship is for you. And the fourth step is about taking conscious action towards meeting love. So to go a bit more into step one, being mindfully aware of what you have learned about love. This step, I suppose, comes much from attachment theory, and according to attachment theory, there is an emotional bond between caregiver and child which ensures their survival. And that means that depending on the situation that we were, that we grew up, where we grew up, we adapted to that environment in order to get as much love as possible. If you imagine that your only job as a child was to receive love, depending on our parents' emotional availability and how they met us emotionally, then we adapted and in order to try and get as much love as possible in order to get our needs met. And attachment research suggests that the patterns that we of attachment that we learn as children then continue into adulthood. Um, um, and that means that often what I see in matchmaking is that we are unconsciously replaying the patterns that we have learned from our past. We are often attracting people who are similar to our parents, attracting people who as I said earlier, may not be the people who are going to be the most secure for us, but the people who are actually a familiar pattern, one that we have been in before. But according to Mary Main, building a secure relationship is not determined by your history, but on your ability to make sense of your history. So the goal of step one is really to go through three levels of consciousness. If you imagine being at level one, where you are embedded in your experience, and you are unconsciously reacting to old pain. So something may come up today. For example, you may feel criticized, or someone may say something to you, and that unconsciously triggers something from your past, and you react based on that old pain rather than the actual situation that's present today. Level two is where you're able to reflect on past experiences. So you understand the emotions and you understand your reactions, but maybe to some extent you're still reacting. And then level three is where you can be mindfully aware of your patterns. You reach that level of mindful awareness where you can take the conscious action to do the thing that is most helpful for secure, happy, deep, meaningful connection. So when we do step one in 2 weeks, the goal will be to take you from level one to level three and give you the tools that will help you to practice conscious relationships. I think a lot of people come to me wanting to be in a level three relationship, but they are still at level one in practicing consciousness. We try to get everyone to. It doesn't mean that you have to always be in level three, but that you know how to practice it so that you can find the level three relationship that you are looking for. Um, and yeah, here I will share that I think this is perhaps one of the most, for me, I think one of the most important parts of the process, and the feedback that I get from clients who have done this step, is that it not only impacts their romantic relationships, but it impacts their friendships, and it impacts their relationships at work. I had a client only last week who spoke about, for the first time in his life, being able to share his emotions with his friends, and being able to share emotions with even previous partners, and it was so beautiful to see that in practicing sharing these sharing emotions, and getting the reward of closeness from friends and family, and people close. I would also share that that my husband and I fought for equal marriage on St. Helena, where I was born, and we were the first gay couple to marry there. And I think in some way this was me, fighting the demons of my past, of facing all these people saying that gay people should not marry, that marriage is only for man and women, that it's wrong for gay people to bring up children, and so forth. And these were the messages of love that I was brought up with. So then, this was an opportunity really to fight that, and I think reframe it. And that may be a bit of an extreme example, but I think it really embodies what step one is about. Yes, so then I will keep moving this across. Step two is about living your life now with your values at heart. In my line of work, I see so many people who come to me wanting to find the perfect relationship, wanting to build something, but there is almost a bit of an empty space in their life, either waiting for this perfect relationship to come along, or sometimes being stuck in a past relationship and thinking, this was the one that got away. When will I ever find someone else who was sexy and smart and clever, and also was a PhD or whatever it was. And I think that that this means that they are not really living now. And if I think about attractiveness, I see this part as being first being your authentic self, but also being your most attractive self, and in that attracting the people that are right for you. This step is based a bit on acceptance and commitment therapy, and there's a great book on that, The Happiness Trap by Russ Harris, and also Act with Love by the same author. Yeah, and we talk a lot about values, and values is one of the predictors of relationship longevity. Yet I think many people may not know exactly what their values are, and may not be living their values. So in this step, it's really important to understand what your values are, so that you can live according to your values, and then attract like-minded people who are going to share the same values. Research also suggests that the best strategy for mating is to be more you. Authenticity is the best strategy, and I see this step as being more authentic, being the sexiest, most attractive version of yourself, which is you being all of you. In step 3, we will talk about compatibility. Um, Here, I think this is also something that I see a lot, and something that perhaps in your in the poll that you did, that is, you know, quite clear. A lot is about finding the right people, and I think it's also about understanding who are the right people. What is true compatibility for you? What I see is that a lot of you are dating like teenagers. You know, it's all about the passion and the chemistry and wanting to feel something. And you know, when we're teenagers and when we're in our 20s, that's how we date. We go through feelings first. When we feel something, then we bother to find out what this person's values are and what their goals are for life, and find out all the deeper things. But what we do in this step is turn everything upside down, so that you find out the core things first. You find out, um, you know, what are the fundamental non-negotiable things that you require in a relationship, and you use these as your gateway. Then you work out what your emotional and practical needs are in a relationship, and you work out how to fulfill that. And then you use the things that you're normally leading with, the attraction, the chemistry, all of these, um, you know, things that gives you energy and are nice to have, and you let go of those, and you become curious about what attraction factors, what desirable factors you could meet with each individual person that you encounter. Um, yeah, so again, it's the deeper root of factors that are associated with long-term relationships. There's a lot, you know, a relationship is about an emotional bond. And within an emotional bond, we have emotional needs. Yet everybody who comes to my office and I say, what are your needs in a relationship? No one has the answer. So if, you know, if I ask you what your needs are, um, yeah, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but my guess is a lot of people don't know. And what we're expecting to meet somebody who's going to come along and fulfill our needs and tell us what our needs are when we don't even know what they are ourselves. So if we want to date consciously, we need to work out what those needs are, um, work out how to communicate them, um, and and then work out how to get them fulfilled. Yes, this idea of requirements, needs, and wants comes from David Steele from the Relationship Coaching Institute. And in step 3, we will work out what are your requirements in a relationship, what are your needs, what are your wants, and we'll use that the requirements as what you're going to do when you're selecting potential partners. You're going to look at these, if the people that you invite into your life will fit with these things. And even if you have the most amazing chemistry, if you think that this is the hottest person you've ever seen, if they do not fulfill your fundamental requirements, they are not for a long-term relationship. Maybe they're for a night. Maybe, I mean, there's also value in short-term relationships, but if it's the long-term that you're looking for, then that is not the one. And then finally, for the 5th session, step 4, we will look at how to take conscious action in order to meet love. And in this in this step, where we're taking action to meet love, you know, it may be a bit more difficult in Corona times, but what we are finding in our matchmaking agency is that it's been a really great time for people to connect. And we've seen a lot of people who perhaps wouldn't have met before, who are now meeting and connecting and creating relationships, which starts on Zoom and then ends up on in real life. One of our clients met with someone for 3 times before trying to work out how she was going to sneak across the borders from Denmark to Sweden to meet the guy that that we had introduced her to. Yeah, I think that in this step, it's about not waiting for love to come along and hit you in the face. You know, not waiting for your fairy tale love to just happen, and whatever situation we are in, to do what you need to do to invite love in. And when it comes to meeting people, where do we meet people? We meet people in communities. So, like the community that Relate is, like the community that we have in our matchmaking agency, but also the communities. For example, I was involved in a softball club, which is how I actually come to meet my husband, where we came to Stockholm to compete in a sports tournament. You know, being involved in communities means that you will meet people, and whilst you're meeting people, I think it's important to practice being your authentic self, being more you, because it's very easy for us to adapt when we are in social settings. That's what we are programmed to do as social beings, and to really be all of you, and remember the strategy that being more you is the best thing to attract the right people. And finally, whilst you're doing this, to practice, you know, to keep practicing that mindful awareness of conscious relationships. In the last step, and the last session, what we're going to try and do is create a community, and we're going to try to do the matchmaking experiment. And this is where you all become matchmakers for each other. So that'll be a fun thing to try in step 4. Okay, and then I will stop sharing. So, are there any questions or any reflections or anything that you would like to share at this stage? Do the steps make sense? Okay, I will open up the space later for any more questions or comments. But as this is really the start of the series of events, what I would like to do now is to invite you to build an intention. And this will be an intention for your future love, the intention for the relationship that you dream of in future. So how we will do that is first by visualizing. We'll do a visualization exercise where we visualize the relationship that you are dreaming of. Then I will get you, hopefully you have pen and paper or something to write on, to write down what that what your intention is. Um, and then we will share that we'll go into small groups again, and you can share your intention if you wish, and have that intention mirrored by someone else. The idea of this, what I'm inviting you to do, is to take your dream of a relationship, take your dream of a future love, and actually take it from the consciousness and bring it into the conscious mind, so that you can actually take the action to make that dream a reality. Are you open for trying it? Great. Okay, so it's up to you whether you want to turn off your video for this, but I'm going to invite you to get comfortable, and yes, put down your wine, put down anything that you may be holding on to, and find a comfy position in your chair or where you are. And I invite you to close your eyes, and we take 3 deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. And the last one, in through your nose and out through your mouth. Imagine that there's a white light that surrounds you. And within this, you feel safe. You feel at ease. You feel comfortable. And all the worries and stress of the day melt away. Just breathe into that space. Allow your breath to do what it wants. Just breathe normally. Now I invite you to imagine a window. And as you look through that window, you see your future self in the relationship of your dreams, living the love that you desire. Perhaps you sense the presence of another being. His or her eyes looking back at you. Perhaps their hands reaching out to hold yours. Imagine your future love. Imagine the love that you dream of. What are you doing together? Maybe you're dancing. Maybe you're flirting, making love, doing chores, building a family. What do you feel when you're with this person? Do you feel joy? Do you feel excitement? Do you feel love? What type of relationship do you have? What do you say to each other? You are the most beautiful person I've ever seen. You are kind and caring and attentive. What do they say to you? Thank you for being such a gift in my life. Take a moment to really feel what it feels like to be in the love that you dream of. And I'm going to count to 5. And at the end of it, you're going to come back into the room and open your eyes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I invite you back, fully alert and present, and still feeling all those feelings that you felt of the love that you dreamt of. And as you come back, I invite you to take out your pen and write down everything that came to mind. Um, and I'm inviting you to write this as if it is now. Write it in the present tense. I am in a beautiful relationship. I am sitting on a bench by the seaside with the love of my life. We communicate all the pain and joy. We are partners in crime. We share good times and bad. Whatever it was that came up. I feel love and deep connection. Take these next few minutes to write down everything that comes to mind. Okay, how are we getting on? If you're finished with the writing, then give me a thumbs up. Okay, great. Um, Brilliant. So I see everyone's starting to come back. Um, my invitation to you now is to think about a couple of sentences that sums up your intention, and that'll be also a sentence in the present tense. For example, I am in a deeply loving and playful relationship with my partner in crime. Um, and I'm going to invite you to go into um, groups and have that intention shared and mirrored. So Philip and I will demonstrate what this will look like. Um, Philip, are you comfortable sharing what your intention is?
Absolutely. Thank you, Lamarck. 1 second.
What is your intention for the future love that
So I wrote down some key sentences here. I am in a loving relationship where I feel accepted exactly as I am, where I feel safe to be myself fully, and I feel an immensely strong emotional connection, supported and appreciated, where I am the best version of myself and can support my partner in being the best version of herself, where we support each other's dreams as partners in crime.
Wow, thank you so much for that. What I hear is that you are in a relationship where you feel accepted. Um, I also hear that you are in a relationship where you have a partner in crime. I hear that you are in a relationship that's playful. Can you help me and tell me what else? What did I miss?
Yeah, also where the relationship helps me be the best version of myself,
Yeah,
and where I feel that I can help her be the best version of herself and reach our dreams together.
yeah. So I hear that the relationship helps you to be the best version of yourself, and that it also helps her to be the best version of herself. Did I get that right?
Exactly, yeah.
Mm, yeah.
Yes.
How did it feel to share that?
It felt good. Yeah. It was a really nice feeling.
Mm, thank you. Um, yeah, thank you, Philip. I invite you all to do the same and notice that when listening to others, you may not pick up everything, um, and and that's okay. You reflect back what you hear, and then ask them, as I did. Um, was there something more? Did I miss that? And it's also nice to just check in on how it felt that they shared that. Does that make sense? Brilliant. So then I invite you to go into breakout rooms. Axel will do the technical part, and you will be in groups of 3 or 4, I think, and you will all have the opportunity to share, and then you can also have the benefit of 2 people mirroring you. Okay, brilliant. So I think that we are back or coming back. And I would love to hear any thoughts or reflections on that exercise, if anyone would like to share. I will now open up the space for any questions or comments overall. Um, I noticed that there was a great question in the comments about needs and should you fulfill your own needs? And I think that's an awesome question. Um, and something that I've been thinking about a lot, because a relationship is an emotional bond, and with that emotional bond, you have emotional needs. Being with someone romantically is asking them, um, will you meet me in this need? Um, However, the problem is that as children, it is our parents' responsibility to take care of our needs. And then when we go into relationships in adulthood, we sometimes give that responsibility to our partner rather than taking the responsibility for ourselves. So I tend to see it as a gift. It's like if someone will meet me in my need, then they're giving me a gift. If I will meet them in their needs, then I'm giving them a gift. But the relationship is dependent on both people being able to meet each other in that need. So thank you for that question. Um, were there any other questions or comments? If there is no more questions, I will invite Philip to come back and take over from here.
All right. Thank you so much, Lamarck, for that. I particularly really enjoyed the, sorry, I see myself here. I particularly really enjoyed the visualization exercise that, and it reminded me about the power of visualization, of what you're looking for, and really sort of embody those experiences. So thank you very much for this. We, as we said in the beginning, this is the introduction of a 4-step course. So we will host 4 more live seminars, and we will post the link for step 1. So in each of these 4 live seminars, we will go deeper into each of these 4 steps together with Lamarck. And so please, I will post the link now. So please, if you're interested, have a look and sign up there. We are selling tickets for these, so they are 150 crowns each, but you can also have the opportunity, if you buy all 4 at once, to buy them for 500. And there's a question if you would share the slides. Maybe we can share a couple of images in an email to all the sign up participants afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we also have a couple of, it would be interesting to know what you guys think about this tonight. So we have a couple of polls here, where the first one is just if there's anything that you would want to see more of in the upcoming sessions. So you should see the poll now. Nice. And that's about it. So some of the results coming in: more exercises to connect more with other people, and learn some more tools. And that is exactly what we will do in the upcoming steps together with Lamarck. And the first one, I think, is on May 26th. So we will do them bi-weekly. And if you don't have the chance to attend that particular time, we will also record and send out to the signed up participants of each step. All right, that's it for tonight. Thank you again, Lamarck, for hosting, and thank you everyone for attending and for being brave to participate tonight. And we will keep the channel open for a few more minutes, and see you next time.
Mm. Yes, I would say one more thing. Thank you so much, everybody. Super nice to share some of my learnings and experiences with you guys. Being a cheeky matchmaker, I also thought that if there's anyone that you come across today that you're interested in meeting, but you didn't pluck up the courage to ask them or didn't have the opportunity to, then feel free to get in touch and I will see if I can connect you.
Beautiful.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Take care.